Hi, this is Little Wolf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. Oh shit.
I got your back, Gordon.
Oh. Shotgun ammo, always appreciated. Hey, hey, why doesn't it? Okay then, be like that. Screw you.
We always look for opportunities to add narrative touches in our levels. The idea behind this chair, the submachine gun, and the beer bottles is that someone used to sit here, drink beer, and drop grenades into the pit of zombies. We give the player the opportunity to reenact this experience by giving out unlimited grenades and spawning zombies as soon as the player reaches this spot.
Well, there are no there are no unlimited grenades here, so I guess that must have been something they changed pretty late into the development. Okay, that was pretty bad on my part. We'll kill it just out of simple spite at this point. Okay. Pretty useful, although now I deprived myself of the damn it. All in all, pretty. Pathetic on my part. As is customary at this point. not sure it's worth the risk to go for the crate over there. Although, maybe I don't have to. Oh, didn't expect it to get up. Wasn't even sure what that was. First glance. Okay, I have full. Oh damn it! No.
User dead imminent. Seek medical attention.
Okay, that went pretty poorly. I hope I will find some health before the end of the level, maybe. Although I just did and wasted it on being stupid, so I guess that's kind of my fault. Oh, there is a supply case. Okay, anything here? Actually, I'm wondering if is she like using a megaphone or something? Because it's weird that I can hear her from all the way out there.
Although this bridge is not the first occasion for cinematic physics in the episode, it was the original test subject we used to develop our effects. In early prototypes, the bridge started off in its broken position. It was a static object the player had to navigate to retrieve the car. When we incorporated the cinematic physics, we thought this bridge would be a great opportunity for players to see an immense piece of the environment transform before their eyes. The bridge collapse not only showcases the cinematic physics, it reminds players of the growing threat from the superportal, and sets up the navigational puzzle they must use the car to solve.
I hope this was the... Yeah, we'll leave this one here for a counterweight of sorts. Okay. Now, for a return of my notoriously bad driving skills. Better save, because there is a slight possibility I will tumble from the bridge to my death. Okay.
Fracture detected.
It wasn't the most elegant thing, but...
The original Episode 2 vehicle was dubbed the Jalopy, which says something about how uncool it was. Early feedback was that it seemed too similar to the Half-Life 2 buggy. So we decided to redesign it so that players would feel excited rather than disappointed when they saw the car. Alex's original line when she first saw the Jalopy echoed the feelings of many early viewers. "What a wreck. Forget about White Forest. We'll be lucky if we make it to the end of the block."
Having decided that we were going to rely on a car to get to White Forest, we had to figure out how to get Alex into the vehicle. Games often accomplish this by moving their characters close to the vehicle and then teleporting them inside in a very visible and jarring manner. We knew this would ruin Alex's believability as a character, so she had to smoothly get into a vehicle the way you would expect a person to in real life. This was no small task, given all the strange angles and positions the player could work the vehicle into. Alex also needed multiple entries into a vehicle, given that the doorway she wanted to use could be blocked or otherwise inaccessible. This also provided interesting moments for Alex, where she could vault over the hood of the vehicle in a very heroic fashion. The interaction between her and the vehicle was intriguing just by itself. Once we were sure she could enter and exit the vehicle convincingly, we then had the task of making her believable as she sat next to you. Our first experiments revolved around Alex reacting to the physical nature of the vehicle. When it crashed into a wall, she needed to be jolted. When you went around a bend, she needed to lean with the momentum of the car. These details were crucial in making her feel like she was really going along for the bumpy ride with you. We also wanted her to be very aware of her surroundings and what the player was doing while in the vehicle. If you ran over a zombie, she needed to echo the internal reward the player felt for accomplishing the feat. If you were about to hit the wall, we wanted her to flinch and react to the impending collision, much as the player at home would be doing. There was a fine balance between making her too much of a backseat driver or having her be too quiet next to you. Ultimately, we wanted Alex's presence in the vehicle to seem so natural that players would never consider it anything other than normal.
I don't think I really got the full scope of what Alex Vance is or how she's created until the first time that I went to Valve headquarters. And what was really important was that I got a better idea of how big the team was. I mean, a lot of people work really hard to make Alex Vance who she is. And, I mean, you hear my voice and, you know, it's easy to say, oh, that's Alex, or Jamil is Alex, but that is so not the case. These people spend hours in front of their computer or writing their scripts or dreaming up this beautiful person, and it really just... I'm just the cake topping, really.
Okay. This is the control for the door.
Great driving, Gordon.
Well done.
Yeah, sure. You will experience a lot of it, I'm afraid.
Oh my God. Look at this car. We scored. Shotgun. Oh, unless you want it.
I fear a more urgent errand demands our attention. There are advisors yet unhatched.
We'll keep on the lookout.
This road will take you near White Forest, but be wary that others may use it as well.
I can't tell you how grateful I am.
Our bonds are of nature and require no gratitude.
Okay, I don't think that worked correctly. She didn't really touch him. And I think that was intended to mean that she kissed him.
And farewell. It has been an honor.
They look so funny when they wave. Probably because their arms are so long in proportion to the rest of their body.
Should have known it wouldn't be as easy as just driving down the road. Looks like we'll have to take a detour.
Yeah, unfortunately for you.
A radio tower. If it's working, we need to send a warning to White Forest. They've got no idea the Combine's heading their way. Wake me up when you get back. Nobody's home. Wonder how long it's been deserted. They must have a transmitter in one of these buildings.
Okay, I'll position myself by the gate for later.
Even though this compound appears open and non-linear, we're striving for a fairly reliable progression of events so that we can fine-tune pacing. The building on the right is bright and eye-catching, with the intention of drawing the player there first. The entrance to the ruin building is around the back, so that initial exploration through the center of the compound tends to lead to the radio room first. The drop-down entrance from the roof of the ruin building also helps us pace the experience, because players are cautious about committing to a space until they've explored the alternatives.
I'm on this.
Okay. I guess we can.
Well, here's the transmitter. No power, though. Let's see if we can get some electricity going.
Okay, let's see if there are any cables. I have a feeling I'm not supposed to get in this way. Though I can't get in the clearest sense of the word. Still, it's quite a nice reward for snooping anyway. Or it would be if I didn't drop it, but I think this door blows up at some point, so I have the way to.
Hey, those
Okay. All right, okay.
I'll keep a lookout while you poke around inside.
Okay, so I guess this will talk about the puzzle.
Okay, power's on up here.
So let me. All right. I think
Hey, it's off again. What did you do?
I need the shorter one here and the longer one here. I'm pretty certain they will talk about it in this comment.
This room is designed so that the player will notice the main set of plugs right away, but is less likely to spot the second set at first. One end of the long cable is already plugged in, encouraging the player to grab the loose end and put it into the powered socket. This makes the faulty wire break loose and spark. With the power on, players try to return upstairs only to discover that now the elevator needs power. At this point, they look about more carefully and discover the elevator sockets. The short cord is tucked next to the elevator sockets, so that they're likely to try to use it there first, before realizing they need a elongated one. Given this fairly reliable progression of events, we were able to write a limited number of lines for Alex so that she could react each time the puzzle changed state.
They're out there.
Save. I would wait with the commentary until after I've defeated the enemies.
The door! Here it comes! They're not gonna catch me off guard. Not this time.
It killed me, so wasn't exactly a win.
It's on the roof. Here it comes. They're not gonna catch me off guard.
Should be fairly wounded at this point. Okay, that's one of them. Is there another one? Oh, there is. Okay, that's a little... I hope that's all of them, because... Oh, I hope so as well, because I'm really close to dying. So let us listen to all the commentary now.
The scene where Alex sees the hunters for the first time since her injury was meant to be a turning point for her as a character, and an emotional highlight for the episode, both for Gordon and for Alex. One reason we had a hunter injure Alex in the beginning of the episode was so she could have a strong emotional reaction to the creatures, and use the start of combat as a way of building a good character moment. Alex's previous encounter has given her a visceral fear of hunters, but now she has to make a conscious choice to get past her fear and into the right state for fighting them. She uses anger to get there. We also use Alex's intensity to draw the player's attention to subtler aspects of the scene, getting the player in position for the best view of the hunters as the attack gets underway.
Oh, the other thing that's so great about acting for video games, and I guess voiceover in general, but for this particular game, is so amazing. I don't have to worry about hitting my mark, or playing to the camera, or forgetting my lines. That's usually my biggest thing, is you can see the wheels turning on camera because I'm trying to keep up with my lines. But this, they're all right there, so I don't even have to worry about that, and I can just worry about the delivery, the emotional vibe that needs to come across, and just be the sense of immediacy. I don't even have to worry about the words. So that takes a whole other level off to let the actor just get down and into the work, which is really, really great, which is why I love this job.
In earlier versions of the Hunter intro, the hunters burst physically into the room by shouldering their way through the door. As the hunter's flechette attack came online, we decided this was no longer appropriate. Now that the hunter had an effective ranged attack, having him burst into the room with you actually put him into his least viable tactical position during your very first encounter, making him seem ineffective and a bit dumb. The current design is intended to showcase his abilities while giving the player the time and space to understand the situation before pushing out into close combat.
This area was designed to train the player in the art of hunter combat, and during the development process it changed continually to suit the hunter's behavior. The first hunter prototypes could be killed only by the blunt impact of physics objects. Therefore, to make sure the player learned this technique, we trapped him in this area with one hunter and kept him locked in until he defeated it. Upon the hunter's death, reinforcements broke down the gate and doors, opening up the arena. As time went on and the hunter was modified to make it vulnerable to all types of damage, our grip on the player gradually relaxed, permitting freedom of movement and a wider range of tactics right from the start of the encounter.
Actually, the throwing stuff at them seems to be really effective. More effective than I would have thought.
We should get our warning out and then keep moving. That was probably a scouting party.
In this brief transmission scene, we are restating the goals.
Okay, I guess it makes more sense to first play the transmission and
Here
then
it
the
is.
tone.
Okay. The signal's really weak. Well, let's give it a try. White Forest, come in. White Forest, do you read? White Forest, do you read?
This is White Forest. Identify yourself.
This is
Alex? Alex Vance? Where are you? I expected you hours ago.
Well, we had a bit of a setback.
Don't you understand the gravity of the situation? The survival of Earth depends on the data you
Yes,
carry.
I know. But the Combine, they're heading your way.
What's that? What? You're heading our way? Well, I should hope so.
No, not us.
What's
The
that?
Combine. You
You're
have to get
breaking up,
ready.
Alex. What?
Crap. I wonder if we got any of that. Let's get back on the road.
Yeah,
Here,
but
let me
first-
open the gate.
Let's listen to the comment.
In this brief transmission scene, we are restating the goals of the level, while introducing a note of uncertainty and developing Dr. Magnuson's character. This scene was not strictly necessary, but it helped players feel some connection to Dr. Magnuson when they finally reached White Forest, and met him in person for the first time. In earlier versions, we tried having the hunters cut the power and interrupt the transmission, but this felt arbitrary. Players were more receptive to this scene
Let's
after
keep
they had
going.
solved the power puzzles
See if we
and
can pick up the
survived
road
hunter
somewhere
combat.
ahead.
It feels like a small reward in addition to the simple satisfaction of beating the hunters.
I waited because I suspect there will be a loading screen somewhere that the commentary tends to cut off during those. Although maybe I was wrong. Or not.
Hey, I know that peak. You can see it from White Forest. We're heading the right way.
To here.
Look! It's one of those advisor pods. Back in the Citadel, those things we saw.
This crashed advisor pod is a bit of storytelling embedded in the landscape. It hints at what lies ahead, while suggesting what must have happened in this location only a few hours before Gordon and Alex arrived. By placing artifacts of this sort throughout the episode, we slowly bring advisors into the foreground and develop their importance to the story in a way that doesn't depend on stage dramatic scenes.
Okay, you know what? It's actually because the next place there is kind of intense, and I don't know how long it will take, especially with all of the commentary, and it would be stupid to break in the middle of an action sequence. So this is actually not a bad place to end the episode. So let me save and see you in the next one. Bye.